Well, it's been a few weeks since we've discussed this individual, but he's back on the radar. That is Luigi Mangione.
The December 4th Legal Committee had created a fund for Mangione's defence, and they say the murder suspect has now accepted $300,000 in donations.
Mangione is accused of murdering United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson outside of a hotel in Manhattan in December. The former Ivy Leaguer has pleaded not guilty to the charges. Sam Beard, a D4 Legal Committee spokesperson, said in a statement, "We're thrilled that Luigi is accepting these funds so that he can mount the strongest defense possible. The American private health insurance industry has ruined countless lives by denying people access to basic care and burying families in medical debt." It's no surprise that Luigi's alleged actions are understood and supported by tens of millions of hardworking Americans.
Mangione's lawyer, Karen Friedman Agnifilio, told Newsweek that Mangione appreciates the donations and plans to use them.
Police say that when they found Mangione at a McDonald's, he had a manifesto on him that read, "These parasites simply had it coming." Those parasites being the health insurance industry. Fox News contributor and law professor Jonathan Turley wrote on X, Luigi Mangione has now received over $250,000 from donors supporting his cause. What cause would that be? It's like an American Hunger Games with silver parachutes for your favorite lethal combatant.
Author and conservative pundit Juanita Broderick also chimed in, writing, "Every last cent should go to the family of the man Mangione allegedly murdered in cold blood."
Well, look, I support people's right to give money to causes. People, if they feel strongly, are well within their rights to donate money to the defense of Luigi Mangione, and Mangione is entitled to due process and the best defense he can buy, and if he couldn't afford a defense, he's entitled to the one that the state provides you with. He is free to make a full-throated argument for his innocence. I think the evidence of his guilt is overwhelming, not least of all because it's captured on video, and I think you're insane to give money to this cause, but my opinion doesn't matter. It's your right. You can do it if you want. There's nothing new about it, by the way. People have been giving, sending love letters, and I see it in I think people are trying to round it up to like some principled ideological stance against the insurance industry when there's a long history of crazy women in particular sending love letters to serial killers in prison because they're insane. But what else can I say about it?
Well,
do that if you want. None of my business.
I think there is actually, I don't know if I'd say widespread sympathy. I think there is a lot of antagonism plainly toward the health insurance industry. Now, does that mean that people think you should go and allegedly shoot people dead on Manhattan streets? Not necessarily, but I think that one of the reasons that he is getting this fairly significant fund to draw his defence fund from is partly because there are some people who do have sympathy for it. Now, you're right, irrespective of what you or I might think about giving money to any particular defendant, people have the right to do that. I was very critical, as you're well aware, of the Daniel Penny case, and I'm sure that people contributed a very significant amounts of money to his defence. I can't remember the figures involved, although I seem to recall they were higher than this. Contribute to whatever you wish. I think that Luigi Mangione does have every right, as you say, to make the case for his innocence. He has pleaded guilty to some of the state charges. I believe he's yet to plead, but is expected to plead not guilty to the others. In addition to the amount of antagonism toward the health insurance industry, I do think it's interesting. I think I'm broadly more sympathetic to him than you are, but you have at times talked about the idea of overcharging people. And in New York, he's charged with first-degree murder in furtherance of terrorism. Now, I take the point that if there is some sort of political agenda to an act of violence, you can define that as terrorism. But the indictment talks about the intention to intimidate or coerce a civilian population. I find it difficult, even if he is guilty of what he is accused of being, to say that it is really an act of terrorism in that kind of sense. It is an act of violence that has a political motivation, but is that always automatically terrorism? It seems different to me to the indiscriminate killing of civilians.
No. I think these are very fair questions. First of all, it just doesn't matter. I mean, he's going to be, the sentence that comes with
First-degree
cold-blooded murder in the street is so significant. It's not like, what does the terrorism enhancement get you beyond that? I agree with you that it's not. Now, terrorism is a very ill-defined concept anyway, and then attempts to define it better, I even actually oppose those, because then they're trying to rope in more and more activity as terrorism. Yeah, there's something. It was a targeted assassination for a personal grievance that does have a political lens and is, I think, in some level resonating with people because of political reasons, even though I think most of it is just garden variety. He's good looking and compelling for that reason, and people are crazy.
Let's not objectify Luigi too much. His looks
no, I mean he's been objectified in the media, on social media. That has an effect on people. That has a contagion effect.
Well, it does.
And that is why he's
but I don't think
he got star treatment.
Yeah, but I don't think his looks are the exclusive reason for that. His looks don't hurt because we're in a very visual era, and of course any kind of physical attractiveness or charisma helps. But I also think that there is so much rage about the kind of avarice of the health insurance industry that I do think that plays into sympathy for him in a pretty significant way.
I think this would have been much less of a story if he was not. It's not just good looking, but compelling in the same way that, Charles Manson was compelling to people, right? Because he had some kind of hypnotic, evil, psychopathic, malignant, devil-derived power over people, and that sometimes happens. But going back to the terrorist thing, I would not charge him additionally with terrorism. I think there's way too much. And then when they overcharge you that much, there's pressure, I always talk about this, to plead guilty to some kind of lesser thing because they've stacked so many things against you. I think he's obviously guilty of murder, should be found guilty of murder. I wouldn't throw the terrorism stuff in there.
Well, we'll see. I mean, I don't know what the basis of his not guilty charge really is, or not guilty plea, I should say. And he obviously has, as we've said repeatedly, the right to make that. And we shall see. But it does not sound like you will be grabbing your phone to contribute to the GoFundMe. Or
not be chipping in for the defense. No, thank you. Next up. Did USAID fund biological weapons in, you can probably guess where, starts with a W and rhymes with Luhan? Talk to you soon. No more Rising right after this.